Nachos, amigos, and welcome back to Record Breakers, the music podcast where a group of friends gather together to share music with each other, an album at a time. It's like a little book club for music. Fun time had by all. I'm Petey Rave, and here with me once again is my team, my squad, my gang, my friends. We've got David.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and we've got Drew.
Hey.
We're here to talk about music. We're here to hang out. We're here to discuss a very interesting album, and it's going to be provided by Drew. What have you brought forth for us?
Well, this was an album that I have been listening to a lot because my lovely fiance got very much into it, and I very much enjoyed listening to it as well when we did. And it won a Grammy, so I figured, screw it, let's talk about Alligator Bites Never Heal, the album by Doechii.
Mm-hmm. David, what were your expectations coming into this album? What were you thinking as you were approaching this album?
Well, I was familiar enough with Doechii to know that I had seen her on Late Night with Stephen Colbert. And I had a good time with her performance. I thought she was very entertaining and very, very good. So when Drew said this album, I took to it with respect, admiration, and a tiny bit of fear. # close the comment section.
Yeah. Yeah, this is. I had a little bit of
bit.
Yeah. I was looking forward to checking out because I had seen performances of at least one or two performances of the kind of the primary single, the hit single from this album, and was intrigued by kind of like what seemed like the approach and the personality of her performance and her music. So I was going in with some intrigue and an open mind, but I was excited to hear something cool, new, and different. I guess I wasn't sure what to expect. Drew, how would you describe this album musically?
Well, this entire album, I feel like, wears its inspirations on its sleeve really hard. There is a lot of 90s hip hop, especially in my opinion, 90s, like late 80s, early 90s New York hip hop. I have made no bones about one of my favorite rappers, especially old school rappers, being KRS-One. Doechii's flow very much is inspired by, in my opinion, that like New York boom bap sort of style of rap. I like it a lot. The technical ability, I think, is clear as day. The homages she plays to flows and instrumentation, I think, is really, really great. There is a really mix of like softer moments, really aggressive stuff. I think that's really, really good. This she is labeled as more of a mixtape and less of an album. So there is going to be a little bit of heavy pull from sampling and from the past, as you do get a lot in mixtapes. You also have a bit of disjointedness between some of the songs, which seems pretty common in mixtapes. There's usually a centralized idea, but not a centralized like tone, because you're mixing a lot of things together, right? But it is what I love most in rap and hip hop is being able to feel like you're getting a clear intentionality from the artist, and sort of getting their voice very, very clear. And I think this album does that in like bunches all over the place.
David, how would you describe this album musically?
I would describe this album musically as a journey with an artist who is working through some stuff. In the 2020s, a lot of genres and a lot of artists are being completely transparent to an almost uncomfortable level. And I won't say Doechii does that, but she's very, very out in the open about everything she's saying and everything she's doing, which is fine. And I know people appreciate that and relate to that, and it's an interesting story. I'm not exactly sure if this album has a story or a concept, but to see that on display and see how it progresses through the album, where it's very much we are hearing directly from Doechii and what is going on inside her head. There is no filter, there is no persona. What you are seeing is exactly what you are getting. And I can respect that, and I can also respect the multi-dimensionality on this album. It isn't just one particular brand of hip-hop. She goes all over the place in a good way, and because I don't know enough to talk about that genre, I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, with her sound, a lot of that that kind of like recalls. She pulls from some different sources, like Drew has said. She pulls from later on some of that like New York boom bap, and she also pulls from like some different alternative hip hop sounds and styles. One of the biggest things that, at the risk of kind of like pulling a Boss Baby vibes thing, but one of the immediate connections I made was early on. I got she reminded me a bit of like how Samus kind of delivers some of her tracks in her approach and her voice, and then she also kind of pulls from like has been said to be read around like Nicki and a few other mainstream rappers, and with a little bit of like some other inspirations. She's has some of those modern alternative hip hop sensibility, but brings in some boom bap here and there. Mixes a lot of different styles and blends, and ultimately is like this very honest, emotional, bare naked lady of hip hop.
Don't. No, don't. Neither of you. Keep it moving.
And I think, if she only had $1 million, no, she kind of
Man,
really
I can't
lays
stand this whole department.
she really lays it out there in a very raw way, in a very like emotional way, and it's the core of what makes her record, which is that raw approach to the music and to her storytelling and her telling of herself, with just also some classic hip hop tropes and styles that are in there as well. But yeah, let's zone in on some tracks, because that's what really shines in describing this album. Drew, what would be some of the key tracks that you would point out on this album?
Well, the dumbest name on this album, and the first track I will mention, Stank of Poo. The way it starts, the tone, the dark, like thick bass, the sort of like rap narration almost is really, really good. Like sort of puts you right where Doechii is at. Boiled Peanuts. This kept, every time I hear Boiled Peanuts, it reminds me of a song and I can't put my finger on it. Like, but it has this like Missy Elliott, Busta Rhymes sort of feel to it. I wish I could. I know it, like I can hear it in the back of my head, and I can't think of the name of it. Denial is a River. I'm usually like, I've been on record as saying skits on albums I'm not a huge fan of, but the skit here is like directly interwoven into the track, and I think that works really, really well. And Bloom to me is the most beautiful song on this record. There's some spoken word stuff that like sort of meanders a little bit, doesn't really like rhyme or hit on like any sort of beats or anything like that. But the singing and sort of that like spoken word sort of processing mixed with the tonality of it, I just think was absolutely beautiful.
David, what would be some of the key tracks for you?
Some of my key tracks. Boiled Peanuts, I absolutely loved. Might be my favorite song on the album. I loved the harmonized and layered vocals in Hide and Seek. Denial is a River, of course, the song that she performed live. I thought Boom Bap was just funny. It just made me laugh, and that's always a win. And also the song Slide, but it looks like I did not save my notes on that one. Also the song Slide.
Yes.
See, full transparency. I'm being open. I'm being raw, just like that.
Open and honest.
Just like the album.
Exactly. Yeah. For me, a lot of similar stuff where like Denial is a River is a great single, and it works really well with interweaving those spoken parts as part of what the fabric of the song is, and it works really well. Boiled Peanuts. I mean, what the fuck is a boiled peanut? It's simple. It's a peanut that's boiled. You just take peanuts and you boil them. It's just simple. Yeah. But it's a great song. It's a great constructed song. But I'll also shine a song like Catfish. Really caught my attention. Following up Daniel's River is really great stuff. Boom Bap is really funny. It's really fun. It's like the most on the nose of like bringing in that like we want that boom bap, and it works really well, and it brings a great humor. And then Nissan Altima is also another really cool song, and I think this is where I think a lot of people hear the Nicki comparison, but I think it works to our benefit of like just that aggression and that attitude that works really well in this song in particular. Yeah, let's bring it back around the horn. Talk about our conclusive thoughts. David, what would be your conclusion on this album as a whole?
I can't say anything bad about it. One, because I really enjoyed my time with it. It was well performed, excellently produced. Whomst ever got the right studio and the right engineer to make all of this sound as good as it does did an excellent job. So I had a really good time with it. Two, because I value my life and I don't want to deal with that smoke. Petey, do not open the comments. I didn't expect 19 tracks. I have listened to albums with more tracks like that, more tracks than that in the past, but they were usually albums that would have kind of a connecting theme or concept to tie them all together. I may have missed that on this album. If there is such a thing, I would love to know. I might just have to do that myself, but I didn't pick up on it on this album. Conversely, an album with 19 tracks that really, in the end, isn't even that long, there's a good chance you're going to find something that you vibe with on it. There's a good chance. And I found several things. And quite frankly, for me, that's good enough.
Yeah, like this album is a really solid mix of like mainstream and alternative hip hop sounds. It is well performed, well produced. The beats are really solid. The flows are really fantastic. I think this is a really good example of like why hip hop is healthy right now. Like I think people old heads, don't want to complain about the old heads all the time, but old heads will sit there and complain about new hip hop in so many different ways, and like rap these days.
Are they still whining about mumble rappers?
Probably, I don't know.
That is so 2017.
Yeah, it's like and we'll ignore the depth that's out there, the creativity that's out there, and now even like because one of the big arguments I always say is like, oh yeah, you just take a second to go find it, but now especially in hip hop, all the great quality, depth, and creativity has permeated all the way up into the mainstream, like with several mainstream artists. Like there's still depth and there's great artists out there, but it's all bubbled up as well. Like you're seeing some really top-notch hip hop be largely commercially successful right now, and so hip hop is great and healthy. It has been for a while, but now you can see it people that are only looking at the surface can finally see what has been happening for a little while, which is the continuing growth of hip hop. It really is so true that if you're finding yourself saying there's no good insert name of genre or insert name of genre sucks right now, you're wrong.
You're not even trying.
It's like you're wrong. It could be any genre. I guarantee you, there's great
not
stuff.
Not even wrong. You're just not even trying. You have a small, closed-minded little brain.
Exactly.
And you can't even be bothered to type in your genre of choice into your streaming platform of choice to find something.
Exactly.
Try.
Yeah.
Just fucking try.
Or go listen to your classic rock station and stop complaining. Just go away. Either try or just go away and leave us alone.
Does anybody listen to Foghat anymore?
Somebody's making something like Foghat right now somewhere, and it's great. I guarantee it. But yeah, that's my soapbox moment. Drew,
you stole from me because I was going off.
Yeah, we were both going off. We both shared that. We were kind of cramped up on that same soapbox. Drew, what would be your conclusion on this album as a whole?
A parallel pop off.
For like you said, I feel like rap and hip hop right now are in a really, really good spot. There is some amazing work being put out. And it's getting the recognition I think it deserves. I think that Doechii as an artist, this album is obviously her like breakthrough into the mainstream, and she's been grinding at this for a while. And usually when I hope that smart people prevail in this case, because I feel like sometimes when you have that breakout success, you immediately either give the artist a little bit of space to sort of keep building on that success and figure out how they want to speak into that success, or you try to force them down a path and make them make something quickly, and then the turnaround becomes too fast and you don't have the time, right? The thing I think about all the time is, and this is a weird parallel to bring in, but bear with me. Deloused in the Comatarium was an album that the Mars Volta was told you have to have this many tracks on it. Like, you can't put out an album without this many tracks. You can't have tracks that are longer than X amount of minutes on this album. And they sort of had to work within those constraints. Francis the Mute allowed them to fully open up and explore whatever they wanted. Doechii is smart. She is inventive. Now that she's proven that she can make the money and get the ears and the eyeballs, let her, as the children would say these days, let her cook. Like, let her do it, and let's see what she comes up with. Because this album, I think, like David said, it was super well made. It was super well thought out. She is technically gifted, and she's smart. Let her figure it out. Let her push herself.
Yes.
I'm excited.
Yes. Yeah. And those are our thoughts on Doechii's album, Doechii's mixtape, Alligator Bites Never Heal. Now we get to the main event.
Is that ever confirmed?
I'm not sure. We gotta look that up. What is this? Why is it unplugged? We get to our main event of the evening. We get to our haiku reviews, where we sum it all up in poetic form. The 575. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. Haiku numero uno. David, what is your haiku?
She sings and raps well. 19 tracks. Unexpected. I still had fun, though.
My haiku. Young voice in hip-hop with a fresh and honest sound. A true breakout star. And Drew, what is your haiku?
The inspiration is obvious from the start, and I do love it.
And those are our thoughts on Doechii's Alligator Bites Never Heal. And you can, of course, find it on our Spotify playlists and our YouTube playlists. Play Record Breakers the home game. Do your due diligence and your due diligence. Follow along at home on those playlists. Will be next week's record. It's finally my turn again. And I've kind of been holding on to this album as at least mostly, at least partially, as a curiosity, and partially because of like the person involved, and because it's such an interesting mix of genres. We're going to be talking about the artist that an artist that I found on TikTok, and you know, for like different musical moments and the weird mix, the weird juxtaposition of the musical moments that I saw on the TikToks. We're going to talk about the artist by the name of Bill Murray and the album American Motorsports. It's not spelled that way. It's Bilmuri. Speaking of weirdly pronounced names.
I was going to say, did the comedian make an album that I was not familiar with?
No.
Bill Groundhog Day Ghost Bustin' Ass Murray.
But yeah,
Who are you going to call?
And
Serious delirium.
Yes.
Conspiracy theorist.
Yes. So
He
we're
was in that band? This dude was in that band.
yes. Did you look him up? Yes. And yeah,
Wait.
we're gonna talk about it. Just say
He
let's
was
just
in that band, Petey.
yes. And it's part of the curiosity of it all. I'll say this phrase, metalcore saxophone, and leave you at that. But yeah, that'll be next time. This is now. You can of course find us all over the internet. Rebelli.net. I just revamped the whole design of the website. You look it up on your own, have the same reactions the other two had. Check us out on YouTube and on Twitch for Rebelli TV for the VODs, and check us out live on Twitch to hang out with us for this and all of our other shows. Like, share, subscribe, follow, hit the bell, do all the things. Until next time, hasta los huevos.
Petey, for God's sakes, what have you done?
Young fighting.
We don't
one of
deserve.
mine.
We
I
don't
guess.
deserve the outro for this. We don't deserve the outro.
Twiddle fucking who. Fucking weird. Did I ever tell you the run-in?
I'm not saying it. Stop the track. I'm not saying it.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.